So in these COVID-19 times, this pandemic, it has provided us all kinds of things, some of which have been difficult to overcome, the hurdles, and that's also provided us lots of opportunity, both in our personal life as much as in our church life. So, Melinda, what have been some of the hurdles and opportunities for a small church in these COVID times?
For Summit being a small church, the hurdles that we faced before the merger were around a lack of technical expertise. I didn't bring a huge technological capacity. We didn't have equipment to do recording in the ways that we do now at Puyallup. And we didn't have people either that had those gifts and graces to bring that kind of technical skill and knowledge to bear on the virtual issues. So we definitely felt the lack of the limitations around technology. The opportunity that we would have had as a small church is that gathering in person over the summer outside would have been doable because you don't have as many people, and many of them probably would not have come either. So you're talking about a small number to socially distance outside, which you'll see with churches in our area. If they're small enough, that's manageable. So we have benefits on one side, but also hurdles to overcome on the other. So at Puyallup, as you think about that, where do you see the hurdles and where do you see the opportunities that Puyallup has?
So one of the large hurdles that we have is just how do you serve as many people, right? So we have 200, 190, 200 on an average Sunday before COVID. And in a pandemic, how do you get that number of people into the sanctuary, right? How do you socially distance? How do you keep it open to the public? Some big churches have created reservations, so you've got to make reservations. And so and then you've got to do the cleaning in between, right? Like, so you got to move people, you got to move cars in the parking lots, you've got to keep everyone socially distanced. It just becomes logistically a nightmare to keep the space safe and to keep people moving. And really, it doesn't make sense. Even in drive-in services, we can't fit that many cars in our parking lot and then move them in and out realistically. So logistics is huge. The opportunity we have is really about quality online worship, right? We have access to, and we have resources to purchase good quality equipment. We've got people with video skills. We have people who can edit videos, so the pastor doesn't have to do all of it. And we have people who are comfortable on Zoom, so we can have other people lead a variety of opportunities for the church to gather. So opportunity-wise, in that way, it makes the choice much easier for us to choose to do that because the logistics are hard. When you think about, Melinda, when you think about communication in these pandemic times, what do you see what did you experience in a small church?
I noticed the issue around logistics and communication too, that communicating with only 50, 60 people is much easier, and you can do it in a variety of ways easier than you can reach out and communicate with 200 people. Communication is simpler. It's just a note from the pastor to the email list, and the communication piece, even around COVID, would have been not as difficult as it is when you're communicating with a bigger group. You may see too other issues around what are the hurdles in communication in a big church?
Just that everybody doesn't communicate the same way. I mean, when you're talking about over 200 people or 200 families, right? They don't all choose to communicate the same way. So
Mhm.
we have folks who don't use any kind of electronic communication, so no emails. So then we do some hard mailings for those families. But we also have people who don't really look at those either, and they communicate mostly through texting, right? So, how do you ensure that the entire body is being made aware of all the new opportunities and things that are still going on at the church when we all are communicating vastly differently? It's it's complicated to make
Mhm.
sure everybody's on the same page,
Mhm.
really.
So we bring the question now to you who are watching the video. As you've experienced life in COVID, what is the hurdle that you've most noticed in your life during COVID? And what's the opportunity that you've noticed?